Ryan Cross sat alone in his small, dark room when his phone suddenly buzzed with a message that would change everything. "We have her. You know what to do." In that moment, his quiet life as a retired soldier shattered. He remembered the days of heavy duty and long nights. But now every memory was flooded with a single thought: his daughter, Anna. With trembling hands, he grabbed his old, reliable weapon and stepped out into the cold night. The weight of the past mixed with the urgency of the present, and every step he took was filled with worry and fierce determination. As he drove through the quiet streets, the city around him felt both familiar and alien. The neon lights of closed shops and silent traffic signals blurred by, and his mind raced with memories of his training and the promises he made long ago. The message burned in his mind, fueling a growing storm of emotion and resolve. He finally reached the outskirts of town where an old industrial compound stood, its broken windows and rusted doors a silent witness to many dark deeds. The compound was known to house criminals and mercenaries, and tonight it would hide his worst fears. Ryan parked his car in a shadowed corner and left it behind as he crept towards the compound on foot. The air was heavy with the smell of damp concrete and old grease, and every sound echoed in the silence like a warning. He slid into a narrow, dark tunnel near the side of the building, the only path that offered cover from a flickering floodlights above. With each cautious step, he recalled the training that taught him to move like a shadow, unseen and unheard. His heart pounded steadily, and the weight of the secret he carried pressed on him like an iron chain. Emerging from the tunnel into a long, poorly lit corridor, Ryan could hear the soft murmur of voices ahead. 2 guards were patrolling, their footsteps slow and deliberate. They walked side by side, chatting in low tones, unaware of the danger that lurked in the dark. In a heartbeat, Ryan sprang into action. With a swift, clean move, he disabled the first guard, gently but firmly knocking him out before the man even had a chance to react. The second guard barely had time to shout before Ryan was upon him, using simple, practiced moves that left him unconscious on the cold floor. The silence returned, and Ryan took a deep breath, knowing that every moment counted. Deeper into the building, in a small, cluttered room lit only by a flickering monitor, Ryan paused. The screen showed a live feed from one of the compound's cameras, a camera that now revealed the face he had feared the most. There, in a dim room, sat Anna. Her eyes were wide with terror, and she was tied to a chair, her small hands trembling with fear. For a moment, Ryan's heart ached as memories of her laughter and gentle voice filled his mind. But there was no time for weakness. The image on the screen sparked a fire in him, a burning promise that he would bring her home no matter what. Moving quickly, Ryan made his way through a maze of corridors, each turn taking him deeper into the enemy's lair. In a large room filled with red warning lights and the hum of machinery, 3 rough men suddenly attacked him. Their faces were hardened and merciless, and they moved with a dangerous confidence that spoke of years spent on the wrong side of the law. Ryan's body reacted before his mind could catch up. Each punch and kick was a lesson learned in the heat of battle. The clash of fists and the thud of bodies against cold concrete filled the room. One by one, his attackers fell silent under his relentless assault. When the last man staggered, Ryan quickly grabbed him to squeeze out information, and in between grunts, he learned that Anna was in danger of being moved soon, to an upper floor where a man named Vargas awaited. That name struck Ryan hard. Vargas was not just a mercenary, but his old partner, a man he once trusted who had betrayed him long ago. Every step towards the stairs felt like a journey through a river of fire. Ryan climbed a narrow, smoke-filled stairwell, each step echoing with the sound of his racing heart. Along the way, he set a small, timed charge, a distraction to lure some of the guards away and buy him precious moments. The small explosion behind him sent a shower of sparks into the air and gave him just enough time to press on. With the sound of chaos growing louder in his ears, he reached the top floor. There, in a poorly lit room with a single bare bulb swinging overhead, Anna sat bound to a chair. Her eyes, full of fear and hope, met his for a fleeting moment, and Ryan's resolve hardened. He quickly moved to untie her, but before he could free her completely, the heavy footsteps of Vargas echoed in the hall. Vargas emerged from the shadows, his presence radiating cold anger and twisted pride. The man had once been Ryan's closest friend, his partner in countless missions, but now he wore the mask of an enemy. Their eyes locked in a battle of wills, a silent contest of betrayal, regret, and the fury of the past. Vargas spoke in a low, harsh tone, reminding Ryan of mistakes and choices that had long been buried. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, and Ryan knew that there would be no talking his way out of this. The confrontation turned to violence as Vargas lunged at him, and the two clashed in a brutal, raw fight. The room turned into a chaotic stage of near-miss blows and desperate struggles. Every punch from Ryan carried the weight of a father's love, and every kick from Vargas was filled with bitter vengeance. The sound of their combat was drowned out only by the blaring alarms and the creaking of the old building. Anna watched from her seat, her eyes wide with both terror and a spark of hope that her father would prevail. In a split second of chance, she kicked a loose piece of metal that clattered near a small gun lying on the floor. Ryan, ever alert, grabbed it as he dodged another wild swing from Vargas. With a deep breath, he aimed carefully, his hand steady despite the fury of the moment, and fired a decisive shot that finally brought Vargas to a halt. As the sound of the gunshot echoed through the room, a new danger emerged. The compound's old structure began to tremble. The alarms blared louder, and the faint sound of distant explosions grew into a roaring symphony. Ryan knew that the building was not long for this world. Without pausing to catch his breath, he rushed to Anna's side, tearing the remaining ropes that held her captive. Their eyes met, and in that brief, silent moment, all the pain and loss of the past years melted away, replaced by a fierce, unspoken promise of protection and love. Hand in hand, they raced toward the exit. The corridor they had just fought through was now a battleground of falling debris and flickering red lights. Each step was a battle against time as the building began to collapse around them. Ryan's mind was a whirlwind of memories. The sound of Anna's laughter as a child, her tiny hand gripping his finger during their walks in the park, and the promises he made to always keep her safe. Every memory gave him strength to push forward, even as the building groaned and crumbled with the weight of its own decay. Bursting through a shattered door, they found themselves in the cold, open air. The night sky above was a canvas of dark clouds and distant sirens, and behind them, the compound erupted in a blaze of fire and destruction. Ryan pulled Anna close as they made their way to a waiting car parked in a safe, dimly lit area. The ride away was silent except for the hum of the engine and the soft, irregular breathing of a young girl who had seen too much for her age. In that quiet moment, Ryan allowed himself a brief pause to look at Anna's face, illuminated by the streetlights. A face that held both fear and the first signs of hope. He knew that the road ahead would be long and filled with challenges. But for now, all that mattered was that they had escaped together. The journey to safety was marked by moments of tense silence and whispered reassurances. Ryan's mind wandered back to the betrayal of Vargas and the mistakes of his past. But those thoughts were quickly pushed aside by the warm glow of determination that burned in his eyes. With every mile they put between themselves and the burning compound, a new chapter of their life began to form. One where pain could slowly give way to healing, and the scars of yesterday might eventually fade in the light of tomorrow. As dawn broke on the horizon, the first light of morning painted the sky in soft hues of pink and orange. Ryan parked the car in a quiet, secluded, safe house where Anna could finally rest and recover. Together, they sat on a worn-out sofa, the silence of the room filled with unspoken promises. Ryan gently stroked Anna's hair as she drifted into an uneasy sleep, and in that quiet hour, he vowed to protect her from any harm that might come their way. He knew that the road ahead would be long and filled with dangers, but he also knew that his love for her was the strongest force of all. In the soft glow of early morning, Ryan began to plan their next steps. The betrayal of Vargas had left deep wounds, but it also ignited a fire in him to seek justice and ensure that no one would ever hurt his daughter again. The memory of the night's chaos, the battles fought in the dark, and the sacrifices made would forever be etched in his heart. As he looked out the window at the rising sun, he made a silent promise. This was not the end of their story, but a new beginning, a time to rebuild, to heal, and to reclaim the lost fragments of their lives. And so in that humble, safe house, with the gentle hum of a new day beginning outside, Ryan and Anna found a fragile peace. Though the night had been filled with danger and betrayal, their escape was a testament to the unbreakable bond between them, a bond forged in the heat of battle and strengthened by love. With the memories of past pain mingling with the hope of a brighter future, they knew that together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their journey was just starting, and every step from now on would be a step towards healing, forgiveness, and the promise of a new dawn.